Hey, LinkedIn, and welcome to Business Unusual. This is a live show where we talk about the ways coronavirus is impacting the way we work and sometimes the way we live. I am Susie Jackson. I'm a news editor at LinkedIn, coming to you live from my home in New York City. Today on the show, we are talking about small businesses and the ways that they are pivoting to try and bring in revenue during this nationwide shutdown. As we talk about this, I want to hear from you in the stream. Drop your comments in, your questions, your support for one another. This is a big time for support, as yesterday, two of the plans designed to help small businesses through this time, the Paycheck Protection Program and the Disaster Loan Program, both ran out of money. So perhaps you are a small business owner who did receive some funds through these programs. Perhaps you are still waiting in line. There was a complicated application process, a lot of confusion around it. Or maybe you didn't get in time and now the funds are dried up. As we wait to see if more funds become available, we want to take some time today to talk about what you can try to do in the meantime to help your business manage through this. I want to hear from you. Are you a small business owner? Are you coming to the show today to tell us about what you're doing, what is working, what is not working? Do you want to hear from other small business owners? We should have a lot tuning in today to support one another in the comments. Are you not a small business owner, but you're a small business lover? I myself have many small businesses that I really want to see through this crisis, and I'm going to mention one today. This is who I'm going to be thinking about throughout the show today. This is the Landfall Restaurant in Woods Hole, Massachusetts. It's a place that I worked as a dishwasher, a waitress, a bus girl for nearly a decade. They are a small family-owned business. I want to see them survive. So I want you to tell me, are you a business owner? Tell me about what your business is, what you're trying. Are you a patron of small businesses? Think about that one that you really need to see through this crisis and tell us who that is too and why you love that business and why you want to see it survive. I want to bring on right away my first guest. She is Jordan Dahl. She is LinkedIn's small business editor. She has been across this since minute one, getting really in deep with small business owners, with the community, helping them figure out the loan process, helping them connect with one another and share their stories. Jordan, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So Jordan, you, as I said, you're across this all the time. You're up to your elbows in comments and trying to connect people. Tell us what you're seeing across LinkedIn on this topic.
There's a lot of concern and a lot of confusion. For the past couple of weeks, I've been hearing from business owners who were really desperate for any kind of funding and some kind of capital relief. Unfortunately, as you mentioned, the programs have both run out of funding, but I'm increasingly hearing from business owners who are pivoting and they are coming up with creative ways to meet consumers where they're at and maintain their revenue streams, or at least have some kind of capital coming into the business. So I'm getting a lot more comments from people talking about that and sharing their stories of success.
That's great. And I want to already say thank you for joining us today, to Lindsay, to DJ, to Mohammed. Thank you. Welcome. We also have David and Jennifer. Thank you for joining us. Jordan, I'm going to step behind the scenes for a few minutes because I know that you have a panel of small business owners who are at the ready to come in to talk to us about ways that they've been changing their business to try to respond to this. So I'm going to step back and let you introduce them, and I'm going to come back in a few minutes with questions from the stream. So everyone watching, please drop in your questions. Let us know what you're trying, what's working, what do you want to know, how can we help, how can we help you connect to others who are going through this as well.
Great, thank you, Susie. Yeah, let's bring on Annabel, Vishal, and Zach, 3 small business owners across the US and Canada. If we could start, let's just have each of you introduce yourself and your business. Annabel, let's start with you.
Hi everyone, I'm Annabel. I own the Penny University bookstore. I'm in Regina in Saskatchewan in Canada, and I loved the idea of starting an independent bookstore in our town because we don't have one here, and I just got everything ready and I was supposed to start this week, and that hasn't happened, so I've had to rethink things very quickly.
Wow.
Those are that's a sum of the book collection in what passes for my office, and these are my Books and Beans subscription packages, which are being mailed out and delivered around the city.
Got it. Yeah, you have your own little library going on there now.
That is 900 books in a box in the garage as well.
Wow. Vishal, can you tell us a little bit about Speedzone Performance?
For sure, yeah. Thanks for having me. My name is Vishal Mathur. I own Speedzone Performance. We're based out of Florida. We've been doing automotive accessory and customization for 21 years now. Uh, Primarily, we've had to change things the way we do things because before we primarily relied on a lot of walk-in traffic and things like that. We did have a good internet following. We were selling a lot of products online, but not as much to kind of facilitate and pay for everybody's paychecks and make sure that everybody was taken care of. I wanted to be sure that I wouldn't have to let go of any of my employees. So we kind of pivoted in the way that we changed the way we did things. We set up a little bit more of an incentivized online shopping for some customers locally so they didn't have to leave their houses. We've set up a local delivery service, which we never had before. So customers that are working on their cars at home can have vehicle parts delivered to their homes. We've also helped to create some other, new types of ways of shopping online that make the products feel a little bit more organic to customers. Automotive parts are kind of stuff that people usually buy when they need, but in my line of work, we sell products that people want, not need most of the time. So we want to make sure that people have a good aesthetic feel to those products and get to feel what they would be like, even in an online atmosphere.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. Zach, what about you?
My name is Zach Neal. I am the owner of New Gold Empire, and we are in the two worst places to be right now. We're in food and beverage, and we are in live entertainment. So we have been really trying to pivot. Our restaurants are experiential, so we're known for concerts, events, mostly live experiential entertainment around food and beverage. So we're not really the type of restaurant that can pivot to delivery or takeout. That's not really our forte. So we have a live show component that we have taken online. So we've been just basically taking all the entertainment that's in our restaurant space physically and putting it into a live show. We've been doing actually really well with that. We're working in merchandising. We're creating products that people need at this time. We just launched 25,000 reusable face masks that are branded, customized, different versions of different iterations of our logo and different things that we're selling. We're producing hand sanitizer, and where we used to produce other products, we're now producing hand sanitizer, masks, gloves, other things that people and our customers would need today.
I was reading about that, about some distilleries and other businesses that are now producing hand sanitizer. And as someone who just ran out of hers, I'm forever grateful for that. So, Annabelle, I want to to you real quick. You were going to open your business. You signed a lease, I believe, 3 days before shelter-in-place orders were ordered. And now you have totally pivoted. You have a subscription box service. How did you come up with that? What helped you make that pivot?
Well, you just saw the state of my attic. That's where all the books ended up. The book publishing world is a very strange place as well, and I've learned a lot. But some of my main distributors couldn't deliver to a residential address. And because I'd signed the lease, but I haven't actually yet got the keys to the building, I didn't know where to put all the stuff. So I'm sitting on a ridiculous amount of books in my own house, and my kids are off school. So, and my husband's working tonight as well. So everything has got a little bit crowded. And I thought I can start building the business and building some interest in it and raise awareness of it by mailing them to people. So it's all contactless. Inside Regina City, I'm delivering for free. So we go out with the great big bags of books, and then there's a subscription package which gets you a surprise book and some coffee or tea and some little goodies that I can find. And it's proved really popular. Because I've only got half the stock, I can't do specific books. So you can't email me and say I want Margaret Atwood or whatever. But you can tell me the sort of things you like to read and the genres, favourite authors, and I will find something similar. And that's been really fun. I think people are appreciating the fact that they're not quite sure what they're getting. It's kind of a nice surprise. But it's kind of interesting from my end because I like trying to find things that I think people will like. It's been really interesting digging through all those boxes in the garage trying to find what's in there.
Sure.
And it's something unique. And given that we have a big branch of Indigo's chapters in this city, but no little independent places, chapters is now closed because it's not essential. all our libraries are closed as well, and there has been a really nice local drive to support small businesses. So there's a big kind of anti-Amazon thing, and we don't have to rely on Amazon. So really, I am the only person who can dole out books, and this is the one time that nobody ever expected where you can save the world by staying home and reading. So I think I'm onto a good thing so far.
Sure. And surprise and delight of having a little mystery to what people are going to be opening when they get these boxes, and a good way for people to discover new authors and things that they might not otherwise find, which is exactly what you go to a local bookstore for those recommendations. Vishal, I want to come to you. You were talking a little bit about how you revamped your online sales, and if I recall correctly, in the comment that you made, your revenue has actually increased. How did you manage to pull that off? How are you reaching your customers and letting them know about these new sales and these products that you're offering?
Well, we had a car show that was very large. It happens every time. This time of year, it happens in Atlanta every year. So we had ordered a lot of inventory, and I was sitting on a lot of products that normally I would go to a meet and I would take there with a bunch of guys that work with me, and we would sell to a bunch of customers. About 35,000 patrons actually visit that event. But since the event was shut down, we ended up creating something called a virtual pop-up shop within our website. The virtual pop-up shop just made me we pretty much took pictures of each and every single individual item, took some really good shots of everything, and put them all online, and then made those all limited class items and put special discounts on them specifically for those customers that were going to be there at that meet. That way, all the vendors that were going to be there kind of share the links, and so everybody's getting a little bit of partial business from that. And it's made it so that customers that normally would go there and physically pick up a product have the opportunity to purchase those same products plus new stuff that they normally wouldn't. Like normally we weren't in apparel, but we got into apparel at this time, just thinking that, hey, we were going to do this at this meet, and we ended up starting to sell it online. So it's worked out really well for us.
Yeah, great learnings for other business owners who were planning on going to trade shows or to other events. And I mean, we're headed right into the prime of conferences, and they all got canceled. And so a lot of business owners, I think, are sitting on inventory. So good learnings there. Zach, let's come to you. So you have a bar, a restaurant that's very experience oriented, and you're talking about how you have turned this into an online experience. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how you are managing to keep the revenue coming in?
Sure. So, like I said, we run basically dinner theater, and we do sword swallowers and fire eaters and contortionists and all this type of stuff. And on the other side, we own salons and day spas. So we're in the service business across the board. We're in entertainment, we're in food and beverage, we're in service. And so all of our services are suspended. So on the restaurant side, we've taken our live show and we've created a weekly stream Friday and or Saturday night. We're doing the same show that you would have gotten. We have about 20 different entertainers that are broadcasting from their house. They're eating fire, they're swallowing swords, they're doing the same acts that they would have done in the restaurants. We've just created a much cheaper online version. You can buy a ticket. So that's really just keeping those people employed. I wouldn't say that it's a great revenue stream for a restaurant. When our restaurants were doing, $100,000 a week previous to this. So now we're probably doing $2,000 a week. But for us, we look at this more as a brand opportunity. I don't think that people that are in food and beverage right now can really look at this as an opportunity to grow or expand. Vishal's doing awesome in the business he's in. He's selling a product that people might even need more now because they're bored. They want to be home and they're working on their cars. In our situation, people are not going out. They can't go out. They're afraid to eat delivery food. They're afraid that the virus is going to spread through food. So for us, we look at this as a brand opportunity. This is an opportunity to take that time to really grow our brand, to do things like this, to talk about our business. We're doing a lot of printed merchandise to help support our staff and other businesses. We're working with hundreds of other restaurants in Los Angeles and New York area to create custom merchandise that proceeds from the sales go to help people who are out of work, businesses that aren't going to get into these programs that have run out of money. So we look at this as more like a PR opportunity to increase our brand, increase what we're doing on the digital media side, and create new revenue streams. So even if our live shows bring in $2,000 a week, that's another $8,000 a month that we'll have that we can continue when the lights turn back on. Because one of the things we've realized being a really physically focused business is now that we're opening up these new revenue streams and new opportunities online, these are things that can continue when the world turns back on. We can easily install live camera feeds in our restaurants and share those experiences with people all over the world and continue to build new revenue opportunities.
Yeah, I think that's something that's cool coming out of this, of making lemonade out of lemons. So there's all kinds of different opportunities that might exist after this, of this whole new normal, and who knows kind of what we're going to be facing when we're all finally let out of our houses. I'm Susie. Can you come back on and tell us what people are saying in the stream? Any comments or questions that people have?
Definitely. I am back with you. There are a lot of questions. There are a lot of comments. It's really great to hear all the creative ways that you all are changing your businesses. It's inspiring other people to share what they're doing too. So we have Stacy, who says that we have changed over our whole factory for community masks. That's crucial right now, as different municipalities are starting to mandate that masks be worn in public. There needs to be more and more. So her factory is changing over from its normal state of affairs to be manufacturing masks. We have Shane. This is a fun one. Shane says we've pivoted our paper party games and made Golden Girls Bingo.
Ooh.
And they're making that available as a digital download that customers can print at home. So I don't know who has a printer anymore. I don't, but if I did, I would certainly be printing Golden Girls Bingo, because that is a fabulous pivot. It's fun. It's a lighthearted way to keep people in the paper party game spirit when they can't visit your store in person. It's clearly not an essential store as deemed by the local government, but still a way to keep connected to people. We have Susan.
Matthew McConaughey as well.
What's that?
Does it come with Matthew McConaughey?
You're gonna have to fill me in on that one. I hope so, because I'll certainly order it. We had
He did a bingo with nursing home.
Jeff. Jeff wants to know for our panelists: did any of you receive the Paycheck Protection Program or disaster loans that were offered? Did you try to get them, and did you receive them?
No, we tried to get them. We applied for all 9 of our businesses between New York and LA and received nothing. And I don't know anyone. We're in a panel of businesses in New York and LA. There are about 6,000 businesses in these Facebook groups. No one has gotten anything in those groups anyway.
So you applied, and were you rejected, or you just still haven't heard, so you assume it's a no?
We haven't heard anything. And I would like to say that we had an attorney in LA that handles this specifically. This is his whole practice now, and he applied within the first 30 minutes that they were available. So we weren't late on it. We were like one of the first businesses to apply through Chase Bank. I think in the double digits, like within the first 99 businesses to apply in general, and we still haven't even received word back, and it's been weeks.
Oh, that's not a good state to be in. I hope that's probably incredibly stressful. I was going to say, I hope it's not too stressful, but it is. This is a very stressful time. Vishal, did you consider applying for any of these loans?
I applied for the CARES Act. I applied for it probably about 3 days after it was announced. I was hopeful that maybe it would go through. It'd be great for me to be able to, make sure that I didn't have to pull out of my savings to pay my guys if we didn't make the revenues that we were hoping for. But it hasn't gone through for me. They did pull a credit check on me recently, but unfortunately they didn't do anything with it. So it is what it is. We're gonna make do with what we have, unfortunately.
Okay, so trying for it. Annabel, did you try for any of these loans?
I imagine the situation is a bit different in Canada. There is a program that they announced recently, which pays up to 75% of your wages, but because I don't have any staff, I wouldn't qualify for it anyway. And they're talking now about doing some rent relief for small businesses, but I haven't heard the definite plans for that yet.
Okay, thank you for that. Of course, we're in Canada. My apologies, different entirely. One more question for the moment from Lucienne. She wants to know what you think the biggest challenges are as leaders of your business right now. Is it figuring out your budget? Is it figuring out your tone of voice, your messaging to your customers? Alternate revenue streams, team management. I mean, all of these things feel really equally important right now, but how are you prioritizing which of these things that you put up on the top of the list? What's the most important for keeping your business solid and surviving through this time?
For me,
we'll go to
it's
Vishal
just
first.
about my staff.
Go ahead. Sorry, I should have directed that at you. Please take it away.
It's just the staff, really, because I think that our brand message is best spoken to the people who work for us. We employ 150 people between both coasts, and the better we can focus on taking care of those people and making sure it's been a full-time job for our HR department and for all of our management to just help everyone navigate unemployment in each state. And some people in New York are still waiting. They've been laid off since March 10th and they are still waiting to get unemployment. And this is something where we have as many as 9 people calling hundreds of times, waiting on hold for hours. So it's really, for us right now, it's just about our staff. It's about, if we do right by our staff and we can all survive this together, then chances are we get to reopen. And again, as much as we can do to increase our awareness of our brand, because there's a lot of people that will get exposed to us through these different programs and being online and things. So when we turn back on, maybe we'll have some new customers, but it's really just about focusing on those people right now.
All right. So people are number one for you. What about you, Vishal?
I'd say people as well. It kind of breaks down into 2 categories for us. For me, primarily, my the people that work on my team are most important to me. So for me to keep, and I have younger guys that work. I'm 40. I have guys that work with me that are 20 and 19 and stuff like that. Making sure that those guys understand that these are difficult times, but they're not the most impossible of times, and that hey, making sure that they spend their money in the right places and that they save the money and not spend it on frivolous things. Those are, I guess, the most important things for us as a company right now. And then, of course, on our customer side as well, ensuring customers that, hey, when we package your items, when we ship them to you, when you come in store, that we're going to have a clean environment. When we ship an item to you, we're going to make sure that we sanitize the item before it ships to you, and that you're going to get something that you don't have to worry about. I guess those are the main challenges that we've faced that we've kind of had to overcome.
Great. And for those of you just joining us, this is Business Unusual. It is LinkedIn's live show where we talk about the ways coronavirus is impacting the way we work. Today's show is about small business. A lot of the programs that were designed to help small business financially through this time have dried up just yesterday. We have a panel of 3 small business owners who are finding creative ways to change their business to try and respond to this time, to respond to social distancing and nationwide shutdown. We have Vishal, we have Annabel, we have Zach. Zach, we have a question in the stream about restaurants. Besides being open for delivering, what else are you doing to try to bring in the revenue? I just make it, tell Eddie again. I think maybe he's just joining us a little bit late because you've got some really interesting things that you're doing in terms of virtual events. I think everyone would love to hear if they could do that too.
Sure. Hey, Eddie. So our business model was about experiential dining. So we're essentially dinner theater. It's really dinner and a show. And we're not really a quote unquote food restaurant. We've never done takeout or delivery. So we're doing a couple different things. One, we're not really focusing too much on the takeout and delivery. We tried initially, and it just was our live show that would perform every night, whether it was dinner theater or it was contortionists or sword swallowers or sideshow entertainment that we use. And we created a live stream line and buy a ticket and come kind of experience the same entertainment that they would have gotten out of the restaurant. And then we're sharing recipes from our cookbook and different things online so that people can essentially create the experience at home. You can buy a $10 ticket. You're going to get the 1-hour variety show. You're going to see all the fun stuff. And then you can make recipes. And then starting next week, we have our chefs are going to go live 2 hours before the live show, and our bartenders. And so they're going to be making cocktails and showing people how to make our drinks, and then making food and helping people kind of make it at home so you can recreate the experience at home. And so that's one of the ways that we're kind of pivoting to keep going, essentially.
Great. I want to just remind everyone in the stream that this is available for replay afterwards. So if there's anything that you want to ask that maybe we talked about earlier, you can come back when the show's over and rewatch the whole thing. I'm going to pass it over to Jordan for a few more minutes.
Thanks, Susie. Appreciate it. So you will each have that's been really unique for your own business. And I'm wondering what advice you might have for owners of no matter what industry they're in. What are kind of the first questions that they should be asking? What are the first questions you ask yourself when you were figuring out how to pivot and still bring in revenue or market yourself, build brand awareness? What's a good starting point? Vishal, let's start with you.
Oh, thanks. So yeah, Jordan, I guess the main thing for us whenever we discovered that all this was going on and what we were going to have to do, I guess the main thing for us to realize was, were we going to have to close down, were we not, and then discussing it with the employees and feeling if they felt comfortable and not working. And I think the biggest advice that I can give to employers today, and then also business owners, is number one, think outside the box. Of course, that's something that you're always taught, but also think inside the box. Think locally, think your community, think what you can do to reach out to your local customer base. a lot of the people that have online businesses only think in a terms based on what can they do for their client base on the, around the world, or, in the United States. And I think that that's kind of thinking small-mindedly, because there's so many customers right there in your backyard that sometimes they avoid reaching out to, because they are right there in their backyard. So I definitely say look closer to home for the clientele, and see what you can do to help your community, and see if you can, what you're doing to help them will help you as well as a business owner.
Definitely. We're all banding together right now for sure. Annabel, just real quick, what's working in Canada?
I was actually going to say the exact opposite of Vishal. Mine was going to be very, very community focused and hyper local, because that works for independent bookstores, I think. And I was really worried about going online, because that seems like the exact opposite of what I wanted to do with the business. And I was completely wrong. It's been really good, and I think my advice would be, don't be scared to be flexible, be prepared to sort of completely change your ideas on a dime, because the world's changing very quickly.
Yeah, great advice. Definitely have to maintain that flexibility and look for the opportunities where they might be. Zach, let's head over to you. What advice do you have?
I think this is just the time for business owners to decide why you got into business in the first place, and if you love it. A couple people asked me right out of the gate, like, I'm so invested in the businesses that were automatically closed and are going to be hit the hardest. And the question was, are you going to close? Are you going to reopen? And it was like, your business is like an extension of yourself, or a child. When times get tough, you wouldn't abandon. So you're going to see a lot of businesses are not going to come back from this, but a lot of that reason isn't going to be the finances. It's going to be because they're going to find out in this that they really didn't have the passion to want to continue with it. It was just too difficult. For me, it's a no option game. I'm going to survive. I'm going to make it. My lights are going to turn back on because I'm passionate about this. This is my whole life. So I would say just focus on the things that got you into this in the first place. Don't worry about, the landlords are not going to evict you. You're not going to get kicked out. It's not the end of the world. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Our country has gone through things like this before. We survived. Life will go back to normal. We had this in 1918. Life went back to normal. We had September 11th. Life went back to normal. Africa has Ebola every 2 years, and life does go back to normal. So at the end of all of the chaos and the fear and the hysteria, there will be an opportunity to go back. So if you love your business, just find a way to maintain that love for your business. Let that be your guide. Lead from your heart. Don't listen to the media. Don't listen to the decimated restaurant industry. You love food. You love to cook. You love to serve. Just do that. Just keep focusing on that.
Good message of hope to keep people going right now. Susie, are there any other questions or comments in the stream for our business owners today?
There's a lot of echoing of this support in the stream. I want to say hi to Teresa and Melanie and Susan. Thank you for sharing with us. We have a lot of members giving each other advice, and it's echoing that same hopeful sentiment that we were just hearing. Delia says, my advice is to not go dark. Be top of mind when your clients are ready to re-engage. Adriana says, be present on social media. Get out there, show people that you're there and you care. And Lucienne again says, we need to look at this as an opportunity to explore redefining the definition of value and what that means once this is all over. So it's really great to hear everyone coming on to support. It is a dark time, but there are really bright spots. I mean, you all on this panel have been bright spots. You're making it work. You're doing things that are drastically different from what your plan was when you opened these businesses, but you have people who depend on you. You have employees who their livelihoods are through you. You have customers who love to come in. Vishal, you're saying you have someone who comes into your shop, hangs out all the time. You were able to help him with his own business. It's about community and connection. And I think you're all doing a wonderful job of finding a way through, both for your business financially, but just for your support system and your community at the end of all this.
Appreciate it.
Definitely. Well, I think that wraps us up today. Thank you, Zach, Vishal, and Annabel for coming on the show, for giving your advice and talking through how you have pivoted. There's a lot of good lessons here for other business owners, and also just a bit of camaraderie of knowing that you're not in this alone, that there is a whole community out there to support you, and we are all going through this together. And so, like Zach was saying, just keep that message of hope.
That's great. Jordan, I know that you're going to stay across this story. I would invite everyone on the stream to follow you. Go to Jordan's LinkedIn page. Follow her. She has a regular newsletter that's talking about ways small business owners can learn from one another, figure out what's going on in the landscape at any given moment. Definitely follow Jordan for more. Jordan, thank you for being on today. I know we're going to have you back because this story is developing. Things are changing all the time for this community, and we definitely want to have your expertise and you as a rallying point around which these businesses can work together and figure out how to make it through. Thank you.
Thank you for having me on, Susie. Appreciate it.
And thank you for joining us, everyone. This is Business Unusual. This is our live show where we talk about the way coronavirus is impacting the way we work. We come to you live from the LinkedIn editors page every weekday at noon Eastern. So please come back and be with us on Monday. Have a safe weekend and stay safe out there generally.